released the Elvis stamp, and it's one of the top-selling stamps of all time, commemorative stamps. So we're going to do you a couple Elvis songs here. Would you give it up for Steve, our historian right here? He's on guitar. I gave a letter to the postman. He put it in his sack. Bright and early next morning, he brought my letter back. She wrote upon it, return to sender, address unknown. No such a number, no such zone. We had a quarrel, a lover's spat. I write, I'm sorry, but my letter keeps coming back. So I dropped it in the mailbox. I sent it specially. Bright and early next morning, it came right back to me. She wrote upon it, return to sender, address unknown. No such a number, oh, no such zone. Well, this time I'm gonna send it myself and put it right in her hand. And when it comes back the very next day, well, then I'll understand. The writing on it, return to sender, address unknown. Return to sender, address unknown.
Hi, I'm Kristal Hart, and we are here in Washington, D.C. at the headquarters for the Postal Service. With us is Steve Krokesberger. Did I get that quite right?
You were so close. Kokersberger.
A historian. Now, today is very special because it's 250 years of the Postal Service delivering mail to the people, to the community, to businesses. So just tell us a little bit about the history.
Well, the Postal Service is actually a year older than the United States. It was founded in July of 1775 in the middle of the war. The nation needed a method of communication. We needed an army and we needed a postal service. They made George Washington General of the Army and Ben Franklin General of the Postal Service.
250 years. And tell us a little bit about all the different areas that the Postal Service serves.
Well, all 50 states plus a half dozen or so territories. You can send a letter from Alaska all the way down to American Samoa or the Virgin Islands to Maine, even Guam, where it's always tomorrow.
Okay. And I just recently saw a movie, and they were an older movie, and they were the dogs. They once delivered mail with the dogs. Is that myth or is it true or?
It's actually true. We have a couple famous dogs in postal history. Oni was the mascot of the Railway Mail Service. He didn't deliver the mail, but he traveled the trains freely and guarded the mail bags. But then there was another dog, Dorsey, who delivered mail to a mining community, and he was rewarded with extra meat.
And they are food-driven dogs.
Anything for a reward.
And just today, to end this up, we have two stamps that came up. Delivering?
Well, the one behind us is 250 years of delivering, and that shows a modern take on how mail is delivered today and how central the Postal Service is to American communities. We go everywhere, we serve everybody, we don't discriminate. The other stamp we issued today is a reissue of the very first stamp that honored Benjamin Franklin in 1847.
Well, here it is. So everybody go out and mail a letter today. I think mailing letters is so much more personal than the email or...
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I mean, as a historian, we depend on letters. The only way we know what happened in previous centuries was reading the letters that people sent each other. And they discussed everything, every aspect of their lives. The things that we send in text messages and emails now, where are they going to be in 100 years? They're going to evaporate. I feel sorry for those historians.
So thank you so much. And as I said, mail a letter today.
My manager, Abby, up here, they said we're running a little bit short on time, so instead of doing the whole song, I wanted to make sure Abby got up here, played some fiddle for you. Would you give it up for Miss Abby Martin?
And thank you for joining us. We're honoring the 250th anniversary of the United States Postal Service, an organization that's near and dear to my heart. If I may please allow myself to introduce myself, I'm Benjamin Franklin. Your first Postmaster General. You may recognize me from some of the Postal Service stamps. I've been on more than 130 of them. We're celebrating 2 stamp releases today. The first is putting a stamp on the American experience, featuring yours truly in a unique 32-page prestige booklet, and another delightful set of stamps called 250 Years of Delivering. Now I am delighted to present our first speaker, Amber McReynolds, the chair of the Postal Service's Board of Governors. She's a leading expert on election administration and policy, and is the co-author of the book, When Women Vote. Amber McReynolds, thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome, and thank you to all of our colleagues, partners, and members of the Postal family that are here with us today. On behalf of the Board of Governors, it is my pleasure to be here with all of you today as we prepare to unveil 2 new stamps to honor 250 years of delivering for America. I am also personally excited and honored to be here because I can authentically say that, like for so many of you, the United States Postal Service has had a significant impact on my life and career. I grew up in a rural community where the Postal Service is a lifeline, providing essential services and connectivity for constituents and businesses alike. I understand how important each delivery is to both the recipient and the mailer. Second, having always been passionate about the power and ideals of democracy, I previously served as an election official in Colorado and have worked with voting jurisdictions nationwide and tech companies to improve the voting experience for all. Stamps help shape and strengthen our democracy because they allow people to vote, but they also are a service used by Americans across the country living or serving abroad as well. Citizens also receive essential voter registration confirmations, election and voting information, and other educational materials through the mail. So you see, stamps, and more importantly, the Postal Service, has had a tremendous impact on shaping our country, our culture, and our connectivity as a nation. For both commerce, democracy, and communications with each other nationwide. Stamps and the USPS at large have helped shape our democracy, and they have for 250 years. Today, in my role as chair of the United States Postal Service Board of Governors, I work alongside my colleagues to fulfill certain key duties that have endured for generations, to ensure mail services reach every American, to ensure the Postal Service reflects the needs of every American, and to find and select a Postmaster General who will protect this critical service and lead the organization to success. I'm deeply proud to say that after a rigorous search, deliberation, and selection process, we picked the right person for the job. In that sense, I am not only humbled to celebrate this once-in-a-lifetime historic milestone, but to have helped play a small part in shaping the future of the United States Postal Service. It is an honor to help unveil our commemorative stamps honoring the 250-year anniversary today, and it is also my pleasure to introduce you to your 76th Postmaster General, Mr. David Steiner.
Hello, thank you. Thank you to our distinguished guests, to all of our fellow public servants, and to all of you all here, the friends of the Postal Service. Good afternoon, welcome. Today, here in front of the United States Postal Service headquarters and under the gaze of history, we gather for a first day issuance of a United States postage stamp, a tradition that was started in 1847, which means that this ceremony is older than the invention of the telephone, Thomas Edison's incandescent light bulb, and even the safety pin. For the United States Postal Service, today is a milestone 250 years in the making. And for me, it's a profound privilege to, on behalf of the dedicated women and men who keep the mail moving in every corner of our nation. And for Americans everywhere, we hope the commemorative stamps we unveil today will serve as window panes into our shared history. You know, as a brand new postmaster, I know I've got a lot to learn about the organization and the hundreds of thousands of people who keep it humming. Luckily, these stamps are a great place to start because they represent enduring values, and values that I and every American and every Postal Service employee can learn from. The first value, perseverance. You know, postal employees brave all weather conditions, and they cross all terrains. They interact with Americans from all walks of life. They serve in the aftermath of natural disasters. They remain steadfast and determined no matter what, and they keep our communities informed and connected. From the postmasters of the 18th century to the Pony Express of old, to the first airmail pilots, to the carriers navigating roads and city streets today, their service reminds us every day that determination and perseverance is a civic virtue. The second value is trust. A letter is an act of faith. Americans entrust their words to us to reach the right hands every day. In an age of instant messages that disappear in a swipe, the Postal Service guarantees that your words will be served and arrive unaltered. That reliability is worth defending, whether we're carrying a package, a birthday card, a paycheck, or a ballot. The third value is imagination. From airmail to zip codes to informed delivery on your phone, our institution has thrived by surpassing yesterday's limits. The next 250 years will demand the same innovative spirit as we create ways to connect people that we cannot even picture today, and in ways that we can't picture today. So we're debuting 2 new stamps this morning, each embodying these values, while also telling us a chapter of America's story. The first stamp we're going to see, maybe your favorite, is the Benjamin Franklin Forever stamp, depicting the first United States Postmaster General. Here, BZ. We know Ben Franklin as a statesman, a scientist, a founding father. And while many people don't know his role as Postmaster General, and it might be a little bit lesser known, the impact was no less profound. Franklin saw postal services as a way of uniting the colonies. He charted routes, he conducted personal inspections, and he implemented innovative practices with ingenuity that endures all the way to today. The stamp we'll present today reimagines the United States Postal Service commemorative stamp that Franklin's portrait graced first in 1847. Today, Ben Franklin stamp will be available exclusively with our special, this is an advertisement in case you don't know. So listen closely. It'll be available today exclusively with our special prestige stamp booklet, Putting the Stamp on the American Experience. The booklet features the story of stamps in American life over the past 250 years and includes 2 sheets, not 1, but 2 sheets of the Ben Franklin stamp. It's the perfect way to recognize our first Postmaster General in this milestone. And so, whoops, without further ado, I'm going to ask Governor McReynolds to join me in unveiling the special commemorative stamp celebrating Ben Franklin and the 250th anniversary of the USPS. Our second debut stamp, the 250 Years of Delivering Pain, tells the story of the United States Postal Service delivery across 4 seasons through 20 interconnected images, encouraging viewers to go on an illustrative treasure hunt with us. Imagined by art director Antonio Alcala and designed by renowned cartoonist Chris Ware, the result is a bird's eye view of a bustling town, each step of a mail carrier's journey through that town. That carrier and the viewer navigate the scenes that we all know. A post office loading area, customers coming and going from a post office, people dropping off their mail at a collection box, a woman writing a letter, neighbors signing for and receiving a package, and so much more. The text reads, 250 years of delivering, embodying our mandate to serve every community and every person in that community. And now, I'd again like to ask Amber to come join me to unveil this stamp. You look at them, you know, these stamps are a love letter to people everywhere, to over 500,000 postal workers in the United States, and a love letter to America. As we unveiled these stamps, I ask that all of you use the mail today to stay connected, especially when we feel ourselves start to drift apart. You know, a personal, handwritten note to a friend or to a member of your family can mean so much. I ask that you support civic participation in public service because it's the greatest honor we can achieve. And champion institutions that deliver for everyone, regardless of zip code, regardless of income, regardless of their background. And lastly, please celebrate with us. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I thank the American public for inviting the Postal Service into your lives every day, in the past, today, and in the future. Thank you. And may the next 250 years of American mail begin today with confidence, with pride, and with hope. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Postmaster General Steiner. Thank you so much. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our final guest speaker, Elliot Gruber, the director of the Smithsonian's National Postal Museum. The Postal Museum has the second largest collection of any Smithsonian museum and is the repository of the National Philatelic Collection. Perhaps the museum even has a few stamps of me. Please welcome Mr. Gruber.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Greetings, distinguished guests, friends, and dedicated stewards of the American story. It is my privilege and a deep personal honor as director of the Smithsonian's National Postal Museum to join you in today's first day of issue. Today's event celebrates the release of 2 commemorative stamps that you see here, beautiful, symbolic works of art that mark this moment in time, the 250th anniversary of the United States Postal Service. These stamps continue a remarkable tradition that spans centuries, carrying forward the mission of the Postal Service in miniature yet mighty form. Stamps are central to who we are at the National Postal Museum. We are home to one of the largest, most comprehensive philatelic collections in the world, nearly 6 million objects, and yes, we have Ben Franklin stamps, including stamps from every nation in the world. We hold in our care postage stamps from countries that no longer exist, empires whose borders have faded, and governments long dissolved. These endlessly fascinating tiny pieces of paper, fragile as they may be, are resilient bearers of memory. They preserve moments, ideologies, aspirations that might otherwise be lost in time. And yet, among those millions of stamps, every color, every face, every denomination, none are more meaningful and special to us than those issued by the United States Postal Service. These stamps are not only our heritage, they are our voice to the world. They speak for America, its people, its values, its boundless complexity, and they do so with humility, beauty, and power. Each U.S. stamp tells a story, and through the USPS stamp program, we have told stories of pioneers and presidents, inventors and visionaries, civil rights leaders, and cultural icons. We have honored the landscapes that define our geography and the ideas that define our character. From the first issues of Benjamin Franklin next to me, our first Postmaster General, to today's remarkable commemoratives, stamps have always reflected who we are, and just as importantly, who we aspire to be. Stamps are small things, but they travel great distances. They cross oceans and borders. They pass through hands and time. They make intimate the act of sending a letter and elevate the ordinary into something ceremonial. And when we share them with the world, we are not just sharing a postage marker, but an emblem of what we treasure. To collect stamps are to collect stories. To preserve them is to preserve humanity's desire to connect, to communicate, and to care. And to celebrate them, as we do here today, is to reaffirm our power in the enduring power of public service and in the enduring value of telling our nation's story one image at a time. These new stamps, created to mark this 250th anniversary, do not merely mark a moment in time, they continue a tradition. They honor not just the history of the Postal Service, but the millions of Americans who have sustained it through generations. Postal workers, mail carriers, designers, historians, and every single person who has licked an envelope and sent a piece of their heart across the miles. These stamps represent the very best of America, its people, its places, and its profound events. They are, like the Postal Service itself, quiet but revolutionary, familiar yet always full of surprise, rooted in history but forever looking forward. We are honored to recognize and accession these beautiful stamps into the permanent collection of the National Postal Museum. We look forward to caring for them, preserving them, and forever displaying them for the world to see. On behalf of the National Postal Museum and the Smithsonian Institution, welcome to this special event. May it be a time of reflection, of gratitude, and of inspiration. Thank you, and welcome to a celebration 250 years in the making.
Here at the National Postal Service headquarters in Washington, D.C., we have Elliot Gruber, who is the head of the National Smithsonian Postal Museum here in Washington, D.C. And Elliot, today we had 250 years of service with the Postal Service. Would you want to elaborate a little?
Well, the 250-year anniversary of the Postal Service is July 26th, so it's this Saturday. These two stamps were issued to commemorate that activity, which actually originated from 1775. So if you think about it, the Postal Service predates the existence of our country, which of course, you have the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. And that's how valuable and important the Postal Service has been to our country, to really bind 13 distinct separate colonies in the 1700s together, and also to form a postal service that actually, so the British wouldn't read the communication as we're trying to foment rebellion and break away from the British. The Smithsonian National Postal Museum is one of 19 Smithsonian museums, and you're right, we have probably the only Smithsonian museum that actually has a mascot, I think, but he rode the mail rails. We have the second largest collection of the Smithsonian, so we have over 6 million items in our collection. And I know probably viewers and listeners will think, oh, it's all stamps. But we actually have printing presses, we have vehicles, we have uniforms, we have musical instruments, badges, and whatnot. So we have a very large and important collection. And if you think about American history, really that's what the Postal Museum is. We're just American history through a postal lens.
And innovation also.
Very much innovation, and we reflect that in what we share at the Postal Museum. So we talk about 1918, which is actually the augment of airmail for the first time that the Postal Department at the time actually tested out the brand new service of airmail. So we talk about the inverted Jenny. We actually have a Jenny, which is a Curtiss J&H plane that's on display along with several other planes. We also have things related to the Postal Inspection Service, which is the postal, well, we have anthrax material, we have Unabomber material in our collection on display. So we have all sorts of very interesting and fascinating material that really takes people by surprise.
And you know, it is right across from Union Station, right here in Washington, D.C.
If you come to Washington, D.C., you're coming through Union Station, you literally, as you said, you walk across the street, and which is extremely convenient. But we have material related to the founding of our country. We have the only letter that was canceled on the moon. And we do have material related to the Pony Express, which is a favorite for people to see. But I have to say also, we are known as the family-friendly Smithsonian Museum. And we're proud of that because our goal is that if we can bring kids in, they're going to grow up with our museum, and they're going to be bringing their kids in when they have a family.
And I do get some of the emails, and you do, yes, and you do have a lot of events for families and children.
We do. We have a Family Day coming up this Saturday, which is the exact 250th anniversary of the Postal Service, and we're going to have, Find Oni, our mascot. We're going to have all sorts of other activities, and it's really going to be a fun, exciting time, and the museum just comes to life.
Thank you so much. And as I keep saying, mail a letter today. Just tell the people the importance of mailing a letter as opposed to going completely digital with the email.
Well, I think when you get a letter, there's what they call kind of like a mail moment. You get an email, it's fine, you look. Somebody has actually taken the time, thought about what they want to say, how they want to say it, and you can actually enjoy it, and it's personal, and it's more meaningful than just getting the emails that we get. But also remember, the Postal Service delivers packages. I don't know how many, but hundreds of millions of packages probably every day. So there are a lot of activities that are important. But please come to the Postal Museum, and as you said, send a letter today because it's a very special moment.